You just push the button. It's going live.
I
So
know,
there you
but
go.
why did you get so
I
loud?
got excited. It said live, so
Oh
I thought
my
I'd shout
goodness.
in your ear. Sorry.
I seriously think you made me a little deaf in
It's
that
Sunday,
side.
and we figured we would go live and say hi to some people out there.
Hey, Danielle.
And here we go. And this is our version of getting out once again. And how are you, Rachel?
It's been, we've had an up and down week, and it was interesting. Let's say, there are still things, that we have to work through physically, and my body will hopefully catch up to where my brain is, because having proper nutrition, it feels like your brain is just alive and awake again. So
You are much more alert and, I say, not only involved in conversation, but almost like leading in conversation. It's just because you're not used to having this type of brain activity, I guess you can call it.
I didn't know that, you, like, just thinking how much energy that takes, you have to take that into account, even ingesting, because thinking so much actually, speeds things up.
Well, yeah, you definitely have to use energy concentrating on something, and I don't know, when you tie your shoes, you don't have to think very much about it. You just do it without thinking. But if you have to concentrate on tying your shoes, every loop could be exhausting.
Oh, we're getting a question. How's the oral intake? It's been good. I'm having still trouble swallowing, getting to the thicker foods, but I'm pushing through it. None of this part is the fun part. This is the part where you have to really stay on yourself and not, I guess, have those tendencies, to go back and forth. So, oh, but my cat always wants to be on camera. He's trying to get over here again. He's my pet therapy, I know. We were talking about things that have helped, during battles of, when you're down or anxiety, what to do. And I was able to see some people were suggesting some interesting things. I know if you guys have anything that you've been able to, out of treatment or anything at all, that you were able to grab. For example, I was saying, like, we were doing painting or collages, and I always felt like I just wasn't doing it right, And it's so cool. So many people are all over the world. Oh, I love Canada.
Trudy said, are you in the U.S. again?
Someone just asked if we're in the U.S. Yes, we're back where I've come from. It's in Orange County, California. So right now there's this huge heat wave.
Trudy said she remembers you going out of the country for treatment at some point.
Oh yes, I did. I did go out of get out of the country for treatment. What happened in 2015, right? I went. I was here locally in the hospital, and then went to San Diego, and then from there went to Portugal. And that was a different treatment experience than I had been used to. And, just they were so much about being so normal, I wouldn't be stared at while I was eating, It was just a part of things, they made it it's like an everyday experience.
Didn't treat you like you are a disorder. You treated you like you're a person. You know what I mean? So you had that element of freedom to feel normal and walk the path together rather than push you down the path. Ready or not, here we come.
Right.
But I know different treatment techniques and methodologies work better on certain people. Not everybody's the same, and it's not a cookie cutter experience, So I mean, I can see why sometimes you never know what's going to work out best for people out there. Hello from Sydney.
Lisa Watson said, I love cats. I miss having cats. What's your cat's name?
Oh, my cat's name, it's actually Copper, but we call him Bud, and he responds to it. It's funny.
Bud's lazy today, though.
He's resting because right now there's a lot of things going on in Southern California with the heat wave, and some of them. Oh, here he is. See, he wants to take up the room. He says hi. I love this guy. I missed him so much when I was in Portugal.
Since he has the attention, I gotta tell you one thing that happens with this cat.
Oh, besos.
This cat makes sure that I'm notified whenever he's ready for me to to clean his litter box. Oh my gosh, he's right in front of the other one.
Yeah, this is actually a really funny story. We've never caught him doing this.
Yeah,
but
so
what will happen is he will.
He puts the shovel in the litter box when he's done with the litter box. So it's his way of alerting me, hey, it's time to clean the litter box. And I have never seen him physically do it. It just appears in the litter box. It's really a mystery to me on how he
It's
even
funny.
does
We've
it.
never seen it happen before. Someone asked me if I would go in treatment. One of the things is right now, a lot of the treatment centers have a minimum, so I wasn't able to go to. But the way the therapy has been progressing, that I get the medical, I have my this line, because so many times the body electrolytes at this level will change, so they draw the blood, test it, and then refill the bags with what my body's missing. So if I were to have an inpatient, they would be sending me out so much for medical reasons that I really wouldn't even be a part of it. So that's kind of, a little backstory on it. So
Yeah, we do the treatment and the medical here at the house. So
Are you allowed to dip in the pool if it's so hot? Would swimming help with therapy eventually?
you know what, swimming, I love that because then I can move freely. But while I have the PICC line, I'm not able to go into the water like that. Even bathing is totally different because this line is so critical. It has a direct line into the heart. So if anything gets contaminated, like I've had a staph infection and fungal infection before, that's when I get very sick and I lose all my fluids. So a question is, can I get a feeding tube instead of a TPN? Right. I've had a feeding tube before, and I've atrophied so much. What happens is and I can show you a picture one time, I'll put it on, where my face bleeds out, and my throat is so small, it's harder for them. They didn't want to go through that invasive procedure. They thought it was safer to bypass digestion and have me do both. So, I mean, things improve. I think, right now I know some people are saying or thinking that I'm not, I'm not looking the best. As we inch the calories up, sometimes I will burn a little bit more. Oh, I had to fix one of the connections. So, my motivation to recover.
what's your motivation?
As silly as it sounds, it's all of you guys. And him, this angel too.
That's good.
It was really, it was really hard to want to do this for me. I have a hard time with that negative thinking of not deserving it, and getting those thoughts reprogrammed is, where everything is at right now. And
you want to know what my motivation is for her to recover? Is
What?
all the life out there that we could be involved with. as far as with
Oh,
traveling, as
and
far as like.
helping. Yeah, I really want to help other
Well, we
people.
can help other people, yeah, but on the selfish side, you want to help us
You
as
want to
well.
have a life since I've prisoned you for so
Well,
many
no, I
years.
mean, there's just a lot to getting out and traveling and seeing the world more and not being so cautious on making sure we're next to a hospital or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh, by the way, one thing that is motivation is he promised he would cut his hair. So that is actually a little bit of motivation.
Kimberly Artiega asks, where do you see yourself, where do you see yourself doing, I'm not sure what that meant, once you are able to contain your health issues?
Oh, what do I see myself doing? I really want to educate and bring awareness to the community and really what goes on, because there are so many things that happen and aren't documented or aren't recorded, that the information for this area of diseases is so misunderstood, and there's so little information on it. So I want to be able to provide, what I've been through, only experience, and it's just my own. It's not, necessarily for everyone, but just really helping others and getting his hair cut.
What's with the hair?
And I would love to be acting again.
Give me
That
thumbs
would
up
be
if you
fun.
like the hair, and give me some
Give me angry faces.
angry faces if you want me to cut
Angry faces if you don't like his
it.
hair.
We'll go with the very first one that pops up. Oh, see, I see a thumb up, so there you go, it stays.
Hannah, she says that eating disorders.
Oh, I got one angry face. Oh no.
Yes, angry
No,
people.
get the angry people out
Get
of there. No.
Oh, sweetheart, Patricia, you are too.
No.
Thank you.
They don't like their hair.
See, you know this. There's the story behind
Gosh,
it
it's
is
a flood of people.
when I know. Doesn't he look like he should be my girlfriend?
Oh, jeez, really?
Muscles are a little big for that.
That is so funny. No, what happened is when I went to the hospital and for treatment the first time, he says, "I will cut my hair when you get better," and that was what was
When
the
she
date?
first went into the hospital in 2015, and we were wrapped up with the, crowdfunding and trying to make it this all work, I was gonna go get my hair cut. I go, you know what? I'm gonna work on myself later. This anything and everything. I was 100%, towards you turning your corner, And then it got to where we go, well, I'll cut it whenever you're recovered, and when you're recovered, we're gonna renew the vows and have a wedding that we've never had.
One day.
And I will cut it then.
And you
is
all
what it
are
said.
invited.
And there's a reason behind it. So see, look, all the angry faces went away.
Somebody asked about
Love.
Tammy said compromise with a mullet.
Oh, there you go.
I already had the
mullet.
mullet. If you saw me in 1989, you would have had your mullet. I went to mullet high. Thumbs up to mullet high.
Some people were asking about the inpatient treatment. What happens is currently right now, I'm getting the medical and the therapy both, not doing it inpatient this way, so that way, and that certain of their therapies that they have used were not helpful, and I hate to say, I wasn't saying that for everyone, it's just some of the therapies that they were using, it actually perpetuated my downfall, unfortunately. So that's a really interesting subject to broach, Oh, can you hear us? Is that better? Because I just saw some people saying that they were having an issue hearing. What I was referencing is, certain treatments that are used. There's CBT, DBT, blah blah blah. There's a bunch of different things, and I'm not saying discrediting them. I think they're very important. But when coercion has been used, I think somebody who has PTSD kind of understands coercion is very difficult if you've had a abuse or something, traumatic happened. And a lot of this comes from that. That it's not always, it's not about just being thin. There are people who do want to do that, but there are also this side of it where for me, I don't want to experience pleasure. I don't think I'm
There's
worth
a
it.
lot of trial and error that's happened throughout the years to find out what
Very
does
true.
work, what doesn't work, what has a history. You know what I mean? And I mean, history can dictate the future of what's going to work out best for you. So I mean, I think we've been through a lot to know what's the difference between the two.
And it's
And we
just
have ongoing
different for people.
therapists that she's seeing right now that are helping to guide and whatnot too. So
As I want to stay on track, my organs have been healing, working on advancing food, and I want to show you guys recovery. I mean, can you imagine I'm trying to look at it as watching someone transform right before your eyes. That will be, I'm hoping that will motivate or help in any way. I'm not saying I'm so important that I think that people would do that. I just, I'm trying to come from a place of, understanding all the things that go on, in the different treatments, what's work, what's not, and hearing from you guys.
Mara asked, Rachel, what are they doing for you PT-wise?
Oh, for physical therapy, what they have me doing quite a bit of is band work and just regular body movements, like
stretching.
moving my arm and things like that. I don't know if some of you know, in 2015 I suffered from a seizure and I was frozen like this. And I couldn't use my arms, I couldn't use my legs, I couldn't feel either. And it was very humbling to just exist in a spot for so many months and not even being able to turn my head,
Somebody asked earlier, I was trying to scroll up and find the comment, but they're asking if you guys were ever considering having children.
Oh, if we've ever considered having children? Oh, yes.
As soon as I grow up,
Absolutely.
we'll have a child.
And it wouldn't be, I don't want to use a child, and I want to be well, for the child. And even if I'm not able to, I would love to adopt, when I'm through all this, I really would like to make an impact with kids in a positive way.
Anything's possible.
Denise Kieran says, I don't know how to say that name, says, is there a name to the program used in Portugal? It sounds wonderful, soothing for the nervous system, respectful.
Oh, in Portugal, they had a facility and they changed the name. It was Sagonia, and then that name changed. And I was there with them, I think, all in all, about 2.5 weeks, was it, roughly? And the rest of the time, I was in the hospital in Portugal. So I was in the facilities there. It wasn't like a special treatment, area or anything. It was just a normal hospital.
Oh, Pamela Owens was the one that asked about the baby, saying, I know this may be personal, but have you thought of having a baby someday, a little Rod or Rachel?
Oh, having a little Rod or Rachel, I would really love to. I actually, when I was healthy, we tried and unfortunately weren't able to because my body had been through some damage, but I'm hoping getting the proper nourishment and getting everything working again. I know this is kind of probably a weird subject to talk about, but broaching the subject of not having or not having a cycle when you have amenorrhea, I've had it for over, I want to say 12 years. And what it does is it steals all your calcium from your bones, and you get osteopenia, osteoporosis, and I have osteoporosis, so they don't know if I will be able to carry because it will be sucking a lot of nutrients that you can't repair in the bones. So, adopting anything, that would be great.
There's a follower on here whose name I cannot pronounce. I would love to, I'm going to hand this over to you, and I want you to read her question. It's the top question.
Top question.
Read the name, if you can.
Ingen, I hope this reaches you. Your story made all the way to Iceland. Thank you for being so open and honest, both of you. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much.
I took one look at the name and I thought, I'm not even going to attempt that name.
Oh, somebody's helping us with the questions, our best friend Josh. And somebody also asked a question about the money. Where did the money go? Love to answer that question. When I was in Portugal, the reason I came back was the money had been gone, because you can imagine a hospital trip, you know, even one day ranges anywhere from a couple thousand to, you know, I mean, you know, depending on what test, it could be, you know, 20,000. But I had been in the hospital for about
6 months.
Yeah, it was about 6 months, and that's where the money had gone. And the reason I have the donations still going is just for current treatment. I make sure that to funnel everything for the cost of, you know, living, the physical therapy and things like that. So it's a very humbling experience, because, you know, it was really hard for me to ask for help. I was always the one who would provide help, you know, that's what I always did, you know, it's what I was known for. How did I get here? Where did I go wrong?
You were
know?
instructor with the fitness boot camp years ago, and have groups that you were helping, you know what I mean, in areas of fitness and coaching and whatnot, you know. But
and I stopped it because I felt like if I was still involved in it, then I would be a fraud, you know, because I'm fighting something. I can't promote health if I'm not acting right with it. So I had to step down for moral reasons. And unfortunately, poor Rod had to deal with everything on his own.
Well, it was a tough time, because you were dealing with your issues with the eating disorder, and I was trying to push forward with the fitness boot camp and put the face on, even though there was issues going on outside of the camps. So putting the face on was difficult for years.
Somebody also asked what the donation link is it's on www.gofundme.com. I think it's /SaveMyRachel, RACHAEL, or you can look
we'll
it up.
We'll message you later.
I mean, you guys are wonderful. It's just real. It's so humbling. And feeling like I don't deserve it. I'm sorry, I didn't even know this was going to happen.
If anybody deserves it, it would be you.
Please don't say that.
You have so much love to give. And you're doing it right
now. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know where that came from.
Someone named Rachel Clock on here writes, I lost my cousin to anorexia 2 years ago. I wish more than anything that she had known how beautiful we all thought she was. And I want more than anything for you two to know how beautiful you are.
That was from another Rachel?
Rachel Clock. Or Cloak, I don't know how to say her name.
Thank you, Rachel. And I'm so sorry. There's so many people. It's not fair that I lived and they don't. And I feel guilty for that. You know, that people with better electrolytes have passed, but I was spared.
Vanessa Hoffmeyer says, you need to look after yourself now. Your time to help others again will come when you're well.
Yeah.
That's my motivation, is to pay it forward and give back to the love you guys gave me. I'm sorry, I didn't know that this was going to go that direction.
It's okay. It's a good thing you're not wearing mascara.
Yeah, I don't wear makeup. I don't want to be, I want you to get the transparent version. It's not a pretty disease. There's nothing beautiful about it. You know, so. I love that example someone said of it's like an airplane. Thank you so much for saying that. When you put an oxygen mask and they ask you to secure your own before you secure your child's,
Absolutely.
that's a great example. That's a great example.
Shout out from Tina Lopez in Bakersfield.
Bakersfield.
Bakersfield's here. That's where his family is from, and some of my family as
By
well.
the way, about a month ago, I acknowledged Bakersfield, but I also want to acknowledge Taft, and that's the high school I went to. Just want to make sure I threw that out there.
Oh, thank you,
We
Hannah.
got another person from Iceland.
Oh, do I have pictures of myself before I was anorexic? Yes.
Yeah.
What happened is during the span of 13, 14 years, I had started over exercising, and then I dropped with the anorexia, and then I was okay. And there are so many times where I would get better and then fail once I was out of treatment. And I felt like such a loser because everyone else was getting better. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I have that aha moment? Is it my spirituality I'm missing? Am I doing, am I not doing the therapy right? And I kept failing so many times when I just noticed that a lot of the things that I would love to address in treatment centers is to be able to translate those behaviors to the home, so that way you incorporate it into your everyday life. I know some people are like, why don't you just eat? I wish it were just that.
I think that's a good point. Is whenever you come out of treatment, or even if you come out of prison and you go back to civilian life, it's a complete culture shock. You feel like a, fish out of water sort of thing. But the transition into the social life as you're going through treatment, I think the transition is working better for you.
No, it was like, I can build a computer and do this, but I can't eat. What was wrong? What was wrong? I just couldn't figure it out. I'm not saying I'm smart, but I wasn't like, dumb.
Lacey Kitkowski says, may I send you a reborn baby? A cuddle for your difficult days?
Oh.
What is a reborn baby?
What is a reborn baby? Someone
Reborn
mentioned something about a reborn baby.
Lacey.
I've not heard it. Lacey.
Is that a doll?
I haven't heard it.
I don't know what the heck it is.
That's so sweet. Yeah. You guys, the way you guys connect and reach out, and I just want to, like, everything that you've been able to put your love towards me, and I'm able to, I want to pay it forward and make show that so many things can be altered in the system to help people. Everybody's unique, like someone we can all be in the same physical state, but for different reasons. So some centers will just do one treatment for any kind of, eating disorder, regardless of what the diagnosis is. And they use one method. And I find that being able to get a little bit from each method and what works. And I have to do the hard stuff, the scary stuff, the, putting food in my mouth while my head's telling me you don't deserve it. Do I have thoughts and behaviors? Yeah, of course, but I don't act on them. Right now, all the love you guys have given me, I owe it to you to get better.
One thing I've noticed with you is as you're crossing over to the recovery mode, that you've been more and more curious, and you're almost like, what have I been missing? Let's go do that, or let's, you know what I mean? The conversation that you have is more out of curiosity, almost like childlike, and it's like you're trying to pick up with where you left off whenever you were experiencing life as it should be lived.
Playfully, no, that makes sense. It does. A lot of people, from what I understand, what I've read is when imagine when a trauma begins, the person is socially stunted
it's
from then forward.
maturity
Yeah,
maturity
it's
levels.
something
It's
like
stuck.
that. And it's not everyone, you know, like I said, we're all different. But I do really think that there, there needs to be, like, if you have a kid who has different levels of a child that has ADHD, you know, they adapt to how the child's brain is working, you know. That's kind of the same concept I feel should be incorporated. It may help, it may not. It's still something that, you know, that we can look at and create a dialogue about it, because this is, I know the subject is hard to talk about. Oh, let me speak up. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Kathy, for letting me know. Um, and anyhow, I mean, I can rattle on and
Do you
on and on.
wanna-
Oh, how is my throat and esophagus? Oh, thank you. That's really sweet that you even remembered that. That's so thoughtful. My throat is getting better. It's kind of, I've been having a hard time because it had lacerations. So it's healing really slow. And the lacerations were coming from electrolytes that I had to ingest, and they were able to formulate it in the bag, so I don't need to do it like that anymore.
you see
And
the
also
dietitian this
Jan,
week, too.
one of the people who've been helping, one of my friends from on social media, she had sent me some electrolyte powder to, you know, to show me that there were other options, you know. People have reached out like that. Someone just asked when I'm recovering from, I was an overexerciser and anorexic, and then I had gotten come better back and forth a few times, and then when I thought I was out of the woods, it wasn't a mental like, I wasn't trying to get sick again. I ended up having
Biological pitfall.
pancreatitis, which all you're doing is just what, I mean, the whole time. I remember lying my head down on my mother's lap, and she put an ice cube, and that even came up. It was so,
Yeah.
you know, it was like everything was out. And then it converted to a staph infection from here, and I had a jugular one put in, and then they moved it to this arm. It was over here before, and then a fungal infection. So those are the reasons for the physical setbacks. And so now my gallbladder is trying to get better. My GI is trying to pick up. It's amazing how lazy it can get so fast.
Yeah.
You know, it's like any muscle, and if you don't use it, it stops working and you have to get it restarted. That's why I want people to so much stay away from this area. All the awful things that happen, there's no payoff. I keep saying this. It's so true. There's no payoff. There's nothing good. You're laying on a bone or an organ. You're never comfortable. You have to have a different pain tolerance. You can't, you know, you have to be able to disconnect. And I'm not saying that I'm in the worst pain. No, no, no. There are people who go through far worse than I do, and I
You're just
understand
describing your pain.
that. Yeah,
that's all.
it's just my experience. So, you know, that all these awful things of going from you can't hear to your throat not working, to your heart not working, your liver failing, your kidney, everything can just go south, and you're never happy. You know, you're always like waiting for a rock bottom to hit or your aha moment. And
Cheryl Amshoff
uh-huh.
says, that's a real man sitting by your side and loving you through this.
This is, you're absolutely right. If you were even to know half of the things this man has been through, I
Sure.
couldn't even
No.
tell you. You know, I told him, I think it was yesterday, that, okay, I'm not going to cry, because I don't cry.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. I told him, I'm so sorry I stole over a decade of your life. I have to live with that guilt, you know. And, I'm still working on it, you can tell. But it is a reality. there's a reality
the,
to these things.
the
It does
reality
take its toll on the
also,
person you love.
also the reality is you would have been there for me as well, and you've been there for me in so many other areas. It's not just about me being there for you. You're being there for me by being alive right now, and with fighting, with going public with your recovery, because a lot of people out there are learning through you of what they could potentially be in for if they don't do something about it.
It's a really shameful disease, and it's embarrassing too. What do example, I have to buy smaller clothing and I have to wait. I wait for the children to leave
Okay, you're making me tear up now.
because I can't stand them looking at me and holding the size up. It's so embarrassing and shameful. And they would look at me, what's wrong with her? And I didn't want them to see it. I wanted to censor them, so I would wait until a store would clear if I needed a shirt or something. And that is really humbling, There's so much that has gone on. It's like I feel like we've been in so many different movies because it's so many different stages of so much happening, of a hospital abuse to, it goes all over, of even a nightmare for someone that I've heard of, myself, is putting on weight really fast. If we have a bite of something, we just think we're not going to be able to stop. I know I've thought that before, and it's so contradictory in your head. Even now, sometimes I can be talking, and if my electrolytes are imbalanced, I could forget mid-sentence what I'm talking about. And those things, I don't even know how to translate those things, and so many different experiences of where mistakes, I was not perfect through this by any means. I don't want anyone to think that I know best. No, I just have information that I've sourced, and I would like to share what people can do, where they can go, where they could get help, so that they're not overlooked. And what's scary is I've heard that in other eating disorder messages and from people is that they think that because they're not as bad as me, that they'll be okay. And that's not how it works. It doesn't work that way. So many, you won't make it. Not you, but there's a point you can't make it. I'm here by, I don't even know, luck and
you're here for a purpose, and I think that's starting to sink in.
But I just don't want people to think that they're not as bad as me, that they may suffer just as much inside. People at a normal weight, or even overweight. I've been on both ends,
Danielle Pate says,
I love Danielle.
She said, there are many types of guilt, and her next boast was, I have watched people drowning in their cars all week and suffered survivor's guilt.
Oh my gosh, Danielle. Survivor's guilt. I didn't know that was an actual thing.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Thank you for teaching me that there's something called survivor's guilt.
That's common.
I hadn't known about that. That's really.
Like, why did they have to go and not me?
Yeah.
You hear that a lot. That's just the name for it.
When I had stopped into when I came back from Portugal, we stopped into Washington because they were doing a demonstration for eating disorders. So it was a layover back to California. And when I went out there on the lawn, they were able to get news coverage, and I was swollen from edema, and so I had water weight from this area up. You don't see anything from the waist down, so you couldn't see the fluid change. But what had happened was, when we had walked out there, there were so many tables set up, and so many people holding a picture and a sign of their lost loved one. And there was a shirt if you had an eating disorder, and there was a shirt if you were supporter or survivor, and different colors. And I just remember it being, looking around, and it was like a cemetery of tombstones. And there's a way to fix it. There is a solution out there. You just have to find what yours is. I can only tell you what's helped me, and the more you guys talk about it, the more we can find out, and it's that survivor's guilt. Like, I would see their potassium levels, and mine dropped down to something astonishing that I shouldn't have made it out of, but yet I lived, and they were much higher, and
Can you also explain why you're not throwing numbers out there?
Oh, the reason I do not throw numbers out is because there's a lot of triggers that are in an eating disorder, and I don't want anyone to try to, this is another side that I feel hasn't been touched. There's a lot of competition of wanting to get to that number that I noticed. And for me, it was just not being able to tolerate pleasure. And like a lot of times, I would be the runt of the group, and I didn't think anything of it. And the group would vocalize how uncomfortable I would make them feel. And the thought of hurting someone, putting someone in pain, I can't do that. And I would leave because I didn't want to trigger anyone. And so I'm very sensitive, or I'm trying to be sensitive to other people so they don't try to reach my number and think that they'll make it, because it doesn't work that way. And it's not because I'm special, I mean, there were reasons, I don't know, but you don't make it this far. Your body will give. That's why it's not a game. It's not about just losing weight. And that's what I really want to drive home. It's not about just eating. That's a byproduct of the real problem, and when we get to the core of the problem, that's when I feel that progress is made. Why am I doing this? Self-reflection, things like that. And I love it when people are very honest with me. And if they call me out on things and say, no, I think you're doing this, and I will think, I go, you know what? I need to look at that. Okay, so that kind of reflection has helped me. And I don't mean to be talking so much. I have a tendency to do that. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for, I think it's, let me see. I just saw someone saying about their experience with a disorder. And thank you for sharing it, because one thing I've noticed is the more I started admitting it, the more I found out that there are so many men, women, and different people who have a negative thinking side, of not feeling worthy, and I think that sometimes can be relatable. But the thing that's really hard to watch is what you do to your loved one during it. Those things you don't forget. Ever. So, but, that's a part of the process. Forgiving. How often do I talk to my counselor? I have one PTSD counselor and can only be able to do one time a month right now with her, and I have another therapist that I see more frequently, but getting a lot to the PTSD stuff has really helped.
Your dietitian knows a lot about
my
eating disorders
dietitian.
as well.
I
She's
will tell
amazing.
you, you know, having an eating disorder, one of the biggest things people were afraid of that I would notice in the groups would be the dietitian. Oh, what are they going to force me to do? Oh, no, 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 you know. And this is the dietitian I have. She is so empowering and knows so much information. She knew about refeeding. You know how many doctors don't even know what that hypermetabolic is? It's not very common. She knew so many specific things, and she's helping me with my GI to get my stomach going. And that way, I don't have to, you know, be on this IV forever.
What are the positives that you feeling through your recovery so far?
The positives is how people are reaching out.
Yeah, no, biologically. I mean, how are
Oh,
you in regards to your physical recovery?
physically, my organs are getting better. My head is much more clear. I'm able to put sentences together, which is nice because I've looked at myself before and I could see that I was just totally different, let's just say. I just wasn't as coherent as I am now.
Kelly Clark says, why has the weight gain been so slow? You have obviously made progress, but I think we thought it would be quicker.
Oh, Kelly, that's a great question. You know, for me, one of the problems when that has happened each time is if we raise my calories up fast, I go into refeeding where I get hypermetabolic, so my body will burn too much and I lose weight if I eat too much. And the other thing that will happen is if going through fluids, I actually would put on edema, water weight. So it wasn't even
It's not just that.
true weight
you have to explain too about potential cardiac arrest due to hypermetabolic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Josh brought up a really good point. Is that when you do have edema or you do put your go into become hypermetabolic, that's when your heart can fail, your liver can fail, your kidneys can, that's what I've had happen.
Otherwise, people would just power through it.
Otherwise people would just power through it. That's why recovery is such a delicate process, and I don't recommend doing it by yourself. Oh no. No, it takes a village. I understand that. It really does.
How many times have you gone hypermetabolic?
I've gone hypermetabolic, I would say about 8 or 9 times.
And that's usually because somebody is treating you that doesn't know about it?
Yeah, and what will happen is someone will put me on too many calories and I will lose weight, and they will wonder why I'm losing weight.
What's happened though too is she was there was allegations against you for not eating the food that was given to you, even though you had somebody standing there watching her ingest food the whole time.
Entire time in the center.
They thought she was somehow not eating it.
Keep this in mind. I was paralyzed or quadriplegic, so I couldn't even move. So they had to put everything in me. I mean, it was just.
That was in San Diego, right?
Yeah, that was San Diego. Some of the silly and sometimes cruel things that I know people don't mean to be, but they're, you know, it can appear to be, you know,
and
they're trying to do the best thing, you know, but it just is, like I said, it depends on the person. And what happens is if I eat too much and I drop weight, that's why we have to slowly increment the calories. And I also will put on water weight, which will jeopardize my heart. So it's a really delicate science. And I do have parental support. Oh, I thought you were talking about the nutrition. My family is supportive, if that's what you were asking, or you were talking it's called TPN. I get nutrition from here as well.
By the way, Kelly Clark, was that Kelly Clark from the Outback Steakhouse in Newport that I used to work with about 15 years ago? I was curious. I know there's probably multiple Kelly Clarks out there, but anyway, I just want to say hello if that's you.
Oh, I love yes, and I love I'm reading some of the comments and everything that you guys are saying and the experiences you're sharing of recovery. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be in this genre of mental illnesses, because anorexia, bulimia, binging, purging, we have these psychological component plus the physical component.
Can you
that
read
we
this one out
involve.
loud by, I don't know how to say that first name,
Sure,
the top
sure.
one, Lemich?
Higgs, the way I got over anorexia was looking at the worst that could happen if I put on weight. And she put her amount of weight on. She's healthy, so all those depressing thoughts you have go away. When you're not healthy, you feel miserable. You're absolutely right. Your hubby has stayed with me through this. He will love you at any rate. You're absolutely right. If he can love me at this, then he can love me at anything. And you know what is so fun? Oh, here we go. Here we
This is
go.
a photo
back.
bomb.
Get out of the way.
Are you
He
photo
doesn't
bombing?
move.
I think he's photobombing.
Iakin. Am I saying it right? Iakin?
What's that?
Or is it Lakin?
I'm not sure.
I'm sorry
Move.
if I'm mispronouncing.
Oh, I know two
Oh, hi,
Kelly.
Kelly.
I
There's
know,
another
I know
Kelly.
Two Kelly
The
collects
foods
now,
I'm
apparently.
able to eat right now, and do I enjoy anything? Unfortunately, your taste buds can give out on you, so I don't get the feeling of the serotonin feeling of eating, and I have a lot of holes in my teeth, so chewing, I haven't been able. It's expensive stuff, of course, to get your teeth fixed. So it hurts to chew, and then swallowing hurts because my throat had atrophied. Then it burns the GI to the stomach, and then it sometimes comes out, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm always trying to replenish.
The medications as well kind of dry out your mouth, and so you're more susceptible for bacteria buildup and whatnot too. So.
Lakin. Oh, okay, got it right. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What did you just say?
No, because some of the the medications that you've taken
Yes.
dehydrate your mouth.
Yeah, you will get cotton mouth, a lot of things, but in essence, eating and having to do it right now, it's really, I want to say it's work, because you have to tolerate it all when your body doesn't want to, because it's like, what is this? It doesn't. I'm having to wake it up. And that long period of the pancreatitis, staph, and blah, 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 fungal, that really weakened my body and set me back. I also tend to, one of the things is about the edema, I usually retain a lot of water when they try to rehydrate, so much so that I look like, I hate to put this as a reference, but the Hunchback of Notre Dame, how the back is like that. I had lumps in, and you could press it and watch the water go like that. I have pictures and things. So all that edema, it's bad for your heart. So when you get all that water, so when I go into refeeding and things like that, I also sometimes get refeeding edema. And that's what I will put on, a lot of water. When I had that piece in DC, people had shown that I was better, the same weight, I've had pictures done, and you could tell it didn't even look like my face. It was just very retaining of water, more bloated, But I did have healthy weight too. I was stronger then.
The question though too, I just saw was about your taste buds. Like, are they going to wake back up? And what are your favorite flavors right now? Is it bitter, sour, or?
I notice my body will know, if I listen, it will tell me what it wants. If it wants protein or carbohydrates or lipids, I can't really ingest
but your taste
right
buds,
now.
though,
But
I'm saying your taste buds.
I would say,
What do you enjoy?
that's really hard to say because it hurts. I love pineapple, but it hurts. Like I'm trying to get I'm trying to think. Because my taste buds still haven't woken up completely, and what is weird is I can smell anything. We've had our pets, and I can, and they're over 10 years old and things like that. I could smell before they will, if something is being made. It's like a blind person when
Read these last two.
their hearing
try to
gets
get through
better.
this.
Oh, okay. Let me can move this along. I talk too much. See,
The last two.
how far am I into my recovery? Right now, uh, physically, I'm at a bad point, at a low on the scale, but internally, that's where it starts getting better. That my hair grows, my nails grow, my eyes will look alive again. I guess. Yeah. I know that so many times
There
in
was
the
a longer-
hospital I've been mistaken for his mother and his grandmother. That was embarrassing.
There was a longer
Yeah.
question there.
And also, when did anorexia hit me? Really at the beginning, when I was over exercising, I started being, there's a new classification out there that I've read about called orthorexia. Correct me if I'm wrong, and they're trying to get that as categorized as an illness as well, because orthorexia is people who just eat good all the time and can't deviate. So that was kind of me as well. I would limit the calories, not deviate, very specific, because I felt I didn't deserve, and feeling of pleasure made me uncomfortable. Let me see.
I think there was one we skipped.
Oh, I love it. Bolivia.
Christina, can you read Christina's?
Oh, Christina, last year I was on my deathbed. I'd given up, couldn't fight anymore, but I found painting. And for a few months now, it's helped me going, but I'm getting tired again. I hate this disease. I know you can beat this. It's bloody hard. It's hard, bloody hard. Good luck to you. Christina, thank you so much for sharing that, because you're right. It is hard. And the thing is it's hard to be so distracted enough from that negativity. So I do understand painting. Some people are great at it, and I love it. Even journaling. For me, I felt like I was doing it wrong all the time. I kept judging myself. Like, no, this isn't good enough.
No.
All right, so let's go back and you have to have the A plus, and
We need to have my mother come and help us paint, is what it is.
Oh, the ortho thing. Thank you. Someone else commented about that.
Props to Mom out there.
Yeah,
She's the
Danielle,
painter.
thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, about having, eating disorders where people can only eat healthy. I really think that that's growing, from what I've seen. And the stats are shifting. And I've noticed some facts of it going so much into even the geriatric community, and what it goes through, that they're even... there's a huge population of eating disorders that go on there. And things that you don't think of. And then when I talk about it, then I find out that someone else will have something that they've experienced, that they went through similar. I'm just reading at the... Catherine, thank you for telling me. She says she doesn't have my illness, but anxiety disorder and depression. People think you can help it and turn it off. I definitely understand that.
You feel frustrated.
And you say, do you feel frustrated when people don't understand you? I get frustrated that I don't convey it right. I'm more mad at myself. You stupid. You could have said it better. You shouldn't have said it like that. You should have been paying attention better, and you might have, be careful, don't hurt anyone. There's so many things that go on behind the scenes, and I feel like this area is misunderstood, this disease. I think because people think it's just about food, so the frustration does come. Oh, Jill's asking how much my dental work would cost. It was, they told me it was like several root canals and bridges, and there's services that they unfortunately really don't help much in the dental area, and it's really expensive. I don't know. When I went there, they told me I had several root canals. I have holes in my teeth, and my gums have receded so much they have to regraft to do that. It would be nice to chew without it hurting, but it's not, doesn't have to be. It's not like I can't wait, or, I will get around to it eventually kind of a thing, because that stuff is very expensive.
We're fighting for answers to help her out with it currently, and it's just such a debilitating situation to be in. I want to go out there and just make the money come home, but I can't really do that and be here with you at the same time.
Right. Selena said the really coolest thing. She was scrolling through her Facebook Live. I'm on Facebook Live and YouTube Live right now. And kids being kids, her daughter was being nosy and peeping in my on what she was watching, and she noticed the live and asked me what's that, and she was able to explain the story. And she's so amazed that my husband is still with me, and she noticed that is true love. That was awesome.
Honestly,
Kids see
can
the
you guys
most
even
amazing.
imagine if all
So
of a
I
sudden...
said, yep, not all husbands leave their wives, you know.
No, I mean, I couldn't
You're a
even
hero.
imagine getting this deep into a situation with you and just one day saying, well, I'm going to start dating other people. I couldn't even imagine not being with you, is what I'm saying.
Somebody told him at one center, when Rachel gets better, she's going to leave you. I'm all, what? Well, no, I wouldn't. I was just, some of the things that I could tell you, you wouldn't believe that this really would happen, like some of these experiences. It's fact is funnier than fiction, it really is,
Yeah, well.
What is I think the most positive thing on this journey? Amanda's asking. Thank you so much, Amanda. The most positive thing is being able to interact with you guys and getting education. And I'm not saying I know the answers. I just want to make it a conversation piece, so people aren't ashamed to talk about it.
Yeah, you're talking about your experience rather than just giving answers. And that's the way I look at it when I'm talking about caregiving as well. There's so many times that I've fumbled and fell.
Oh, thank you, Tanya.
And you kind of learn by your mistakes along the way,
And yeah, he's not been perfect. I've not been perfect, There are things we have to learn about. A lot of things that we do that could have been enabling, and you don't realize it because it comes from a place of love. It's such an intricate, so many layers to this area, and I'm not. And the thing is in this arena, it's the highest mortality rate, and that's scary. People don't. They're finding they're not getting better when they go down because it's so hard. For a rock bottom for someone with an eating disorder is death. It's not like a rock bottom floor. You always have to eat, and deal with that all day long and all the thoughts. So, and I'm not saying that drugs or alcohol are easy, but, food we can't live without. And some people can't live without others. I totally understand. I'm just meaning that it's confronted with you all the time. Like, okay, here is alcohol. We want you to get over it, but we're going to give it to you all day long in small doses. But you need to get over it psychologically and biologically.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of it like that, that might, I don't know, maybe would put a little understanding to it, So I just wanted
explain
to
to them
share.
what this is?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if I can put this down far enough.
No, you can't.
Ooh.
Careful.
No.
Set it right there. Set it right there.
Okay. What's that?
I don't know if the cameras will see it.
This is Josh,
We'll try
and
and get
he
it close
Brought his
he
equipment.
brought
think
his
it'll actually see
camera
it. There it
to
goes.
record, and that is what he recorded. Film a piece of, it was outside in the daylight, and he had filmed it because we're trying to get the education and awareness out for all this stuff. And I think the battery's gonna die soon on
camera.
the devices. Oh, sorry guys. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. I think the batteries are gonna go out. So what can you, last question, I have to answer. What can you do if your family doesn't know about your eating disorder? Reach out to someone, but don't do this alone. That's the one thing I beg you, don't think you can do this on your own. It's okay to say I need help. It was a hard lesson for me to learn too.
I think in the beginning I felt
Over
like
here so they can
I
see
feel
you.
like in the beginning that working as a personal trainer, I felt like I was supposed to have the answers to help you recover, and to know that I had to put my fence down and say, you know what, I need a team that's going to help, that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. One thing
And
for a person
I
with
tell
an
ya,
eating disorder, just to add, is the trust. You know, you have to be able to talk to someone you trust. You know, that's what what I feel, at least.
the history that she's gone through with the doctors and
Marissa,
therapists,
thank you,
just so
honey.
you know, is as soon as they say just a little bit of a lie and they lose trust with Rachel or with anyone going through this,
Because I'm
I
very
think it's
honest.
very, very hard to
you know.
go back and reestablish it.
Oh.
It's sooner just to grab another therapist or another doctor at that point.
Patricia is asking what's my advice for new models and teenagers. Your beauty exudes from inside. That's it. Your beauty, you can find something beautiful about everybody.
And don't change who you are
And
for anybody.
when do I have a goal after I'm pain-free? Oh yes, Jill, I do have a goal, and that is to be able to travel to other facilities and other countries to help educate from what I've learned and draw upon other professional resources to help. And I would love to get back at I loved doing acting before when I would do theater. That was always so much fun. You know, you could play, you know, and be silly. When did I realize I had a problem, and was it my husband that noticed? You know what? I felt like for so long I had it handled. Like, gosh, it had to have been, well, it was you that noticed, wasn't it?
Once we started to not focus on fun and focus on what our next meal was, that's when
I was working like crazy.
That's when it all kind of
I know, I feel
opinion.
bad because I would try to do something fun for him, and I would work like crazy hours. And I was always trying to work and produce, and I wanted to keep, you know, I wanted him to experience life, and you know, and I feel like I said, I've taken so much of his.
Well, I mean, we were having a lot of fun, is what I'm saying, and then it turned into more on the nutrition end of learning and trying to get to a specific goal. That was the turning point for me that I've noticed, is it wasn't about fun anymore.
I love my YouTube people. Oh, do I believe in full recovery? That's a great question.
I've spoken to quite a few full recovered people, so that's why I.
You know, I hear different answers. I believe in a full recovery. I do. I absolutely do. Once the emotional mind part and the healing has begun, when you find the root problem, I think you can heal from that. You still have the scars from your journey, but they're just reminders, you know, of what you've been through, and they're beautiful. You know, I think so. I don't know. And let me see. And so, full recovery to me means, okay, this sounds silly. To be able to sit across a table from him in a restaurant one day is, I know it's sounds silly, but I would like to have a plate in front of me and be able to eat with people again. You know, I should invite you guys. You guys can be my test audience.
I think it'd be interesting whenever we're sitting across from each other and we're eating the food and we're not even giving it any type of attention, and we're talking about something outside of food. You're just eating because you need fuel to go have
Right.
fun.
And
Maybe-
that's what I
maybe
think
we
is
go
important.
dancing or something. You need to eat so you can dance, or you can go to the movies, or you know what I mean. Just live life outside of the concentration on food.
Susanna,
So-
well, we do. I would love to start a family or adopt. Definitely. Amanda's asking how old I am.
You don't
I'm
ask a woman
30.
how old they are.
I'm 39. I don't
Or
care.
a woman can ask, is that what it is? A woman can ask a woman.
You know what
But
the
a man
benefit
can't
is,
ask-
though? As I get healthy, I won't look like this anymore. I'll look like me again. I don't know this face, you know? Like, when I see it, I don't recognize her.
Food party at Rachel's. Let's do it.
Yeah, the food party.
I'll get back to
here.
you on that one.
I'm going to invite you all to have a food party, and you guys can help me do it if you want. I know it's ridiculous sounding, but I know it would help.
Well, it would
I
be a
don't know.
very long party because she grazes a little bit at a
Yeah,
time.
I'm
for
a
long
little
period
slow,
of
but
time.
I think that would be a great idea. But too. I'm 39. My husband, he
38.
looks like he's 20,
48.
but he's 43. And I'm
Honestly, yesterday I was telling Rachel, I was doing the math. I said, "Am I gonna be 44 in December? Is that right?" I just don't think of age as much as I maybe should. I'm like,
thank you.
you blink
Amanda.
and you're almost 50. I'm like, okay.
And you realize how much of your life has gone by worrying about
Ugh.
things that we should never worried about. Why did I put someone through this? It was supposed to just affect me.
By the way, did you guys notice
Yeah.
the shirt? Rachel got
He's
this
my
for
Rocky.
me years ago. But it's my Rocky Balboa, and that's
And-
Clubber Lang.
And I
See
can't
Clubber.
wait till I start wearing adult clothes.
My inspirational shirt. 'Cause
Oh, how long have I been suffering? About 13, 14 years. I didn't have experiences when I was younger, which is usually it happens in your teens and 20s. I developed it later in life due to, trauma and things that were going on, abuse. It's not important. Everybody has things, so I'm not saying that mine was
Okay, why do you
awful,
say it's
but
not important?
I mean,
That's a part of
okay.
your...
I know I need to I do
reframe
this.
that.
I do this a
Reframe
lot.
that. Can you start that one over? Or can you say that differently? Okay, we'll
help me.
work on it. We'll work on it. But it's important. It's very important.
Oh, we got Philippines. You know what's amazing is so many of you guys are from all over, and you all reach out. I mean, you.
See, we get better and travel to go meet these people.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. Give me a thumbs up
Definitely.
on that one. We need to travel and see the world.
Well, I feel bad because I've taken up so much of doing that again. So, and I think the battery's gonna die.
But do you feel
Thank you,
But do you feel better?
everybody.
Do you feel
Yeah,
better?
Jessica's asking me my size.
Do you
It's
feel better?
children's size.
Do you feel better?
Yes,
that
I
you-
feel so better. I was actually it was a little hard today, and you guys just made it wonderful. You know what? I'm going to go eat now. I love you guys.
I'm gonna go
Bye.
cook. Next time, guys. I love you.
We love you.